If 5 hours of your life is no laughing matter, before you give it to Hasmukh, make sure you watch this video. The very first thing I can tell you is that the sheer absurdity of the premise kept me hooked till the end. A small town aspiring comedian searching for his big break learns he can only perform after killing someone. I just had to watch it to see how they'd make something like this work. Hasmukh is a 10-episode dark comedy directed by Nikhil Gonsalves, who also shares writing credits with lead actor and producer of the show Veer Das. And seeing a seasoned stand-up comic driving the show, I went into it with my preconceived notions, but the show is nothing like what you'd expect it to be. So let's get to that, starting with the performances. Manoj Pava, who plays Hasmukh's repressive mentor Gulati, unsurprisingly is flawless. He's a garish, condescending and horrifying presence throughout the show. Suhail Nair as rival comic KK gets you to both empathize and dislike his character in equal measure. Ravi Kishan as Pratap Sinha, the horny producer of the King of Comedy show, is a delight and a great change of pace every time he's on screen. Amrita Bagchi as the cutthroat showrunner, Diksha Sonalkar as her assistant, Inam ul Haq as the local UP cop all deliver consistent stellar performances. But the highlight of the show is definitely Ranveer Shore as Hasmukh's manager, Jimmy the Maker. In a show with a real stand-up comedian as the lead, Ranveer's character is the one that gets the best dialogues and his delivery is peerless. The interaction between Hasmukh and Jimmy very quickly become the life of the show, and if nothing else, the show is worth watching just for him. But you'll notice I've left Veer Das' portrayal of Hasmukh for last. And that's because, if I'm honest, I suspected his performance would be the one to falter. And since he's playing the lead, I didn't think performances would be the strong point of this series. And in the beginning, he is shaky, but as the show progresses, it settles and you get to see a pretty convincing actor in him. He's able to move from troubled serial killer to comedian with surprising ease, and it's a very pleasant departure from the Veer Das of the Mastizade franchise. Those were the aspects that exceeded expectations, so now let's take a look at where it falls below. As a dark comedy, you expect this to be, well, dark and a comedy. And with the real stand-up comedian at the helm in acting, writing and producing of this series, it's sad to see that it doesn't live up to these two fundamentals. With a team of 6 writers, there's very little laughs, satire or irony to take away from these 10 episodes. For me, the first laugh came only in episode 3. Perhaps it's a design flaw with the story itself. As a Netflix release where you can be dark and edgy, and with a stand-up comedian like Veer Das whose humor is provocative and edgy itself, the story follows Hasmukh, a small-town comedian who performs for local weddings and then graduates to mainstream television. Both not places for the kind of humor you expect of the show. And if that's the case, then I would have liked to see that humor outside the stand-up comedy sequences, playing out in the day-to-day lives of the characters. But you don't get that either. Instead, what you get is a scathing commentary on subjects like the immoral workings of the film industry, the life-sapping nature of big cities, plagiarism within creative spaces, and notions on politics. You get the metaphor of an artist having to kill something to be able to practice and excel at his art. These still don't make it dark or a comedy, and the show holds back from fully committing to the dark humor that's needed for this style. And when the story goes picking up threads it doesn't see through and introduces a love angle that adds little to no value, it feels like the writers lost sight somewhere about what could make this show unique and where its strengths lie. So what the show really is a thriller, and not a bad thriller at that, just not the dark comedy you expected. In terms of the technicals, the laugh track is just all over the place and doesn't even wait for the punchlines. The audience inserts during the stand-up sequences are so lazy, the audience don't even look excited. And that single front angle of the show's judge is a very awkward one and looks more like a telemarketing commercial than a TV show jury. Much like its main character, this show is not what it seems. It doesn't deliver where you expect it to. Nevertheless, I'm glad to see Indian productions venturing into experimental cinema. Hasmukh isn't yet the dark comedy it needs to be, but if you're looking for a thriller, its bizarre premise and solid performances can be enough to keep you hooked. And that's the review, guys. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, then please consider supporting this channel by leaving a like or a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more reviews like this. My name's Akshay, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.